Liberals are so stupid the way that they handle Trump.
What do you mean?
You should shut up. He's a narcissist.
Everyone seems to be roasting Jimmy Kimmel on his own show, and it's absolutely hilarious. At this rate, you have to question whether Kimmel even has real friends in the industry, since even his closest buddies keep throwing him under the bus. Truthfully, he's earned it. As the face of woke culture, it's pure comedy gold when his own friends take shots at him right on his stage, and one of the boldest to do it is Bill Burr in this clip.
Narcissists, sociopaths, all of this type of stuff. Like, you want to see a great case thing on, like, narcissism. Liberals are so stupid the way that they handle Trump.
What do you mean?
You should shut up. He's a narcissist. Neutral energy.
Yeah.
Neutral.
You think he'd go away?
You know what I think he was? I think he was a one-hit wonder. Right? He wrote The Twist. And then that was it. He was on the casino circuit, and then you idiot liberals wrote him Twist again when you indicted him. And now he's a martyr.
And now
he's coming back, Jimmy.
Peppermint Twist
he's
is back.
coming back.
I'm not under any illusion that Bill Burr is secretly a Trump supporter or some hidden conservative. He's a leftist through and through, and he doesn't try to cover it up. But here's the catch. Every now and then, even those firmly rooted on the left stumble onto an uncomfortable truth. Burr pointed out something many refuse to acknowledge. It was actually the liberals who elevated Trump into a larger-than-life figure. Their non-stop obsession with trying to take him down completely backfired. In their effort to block him from running again, they rolled out a long list of criminal charges, hoping desperately that one would stick and derail his campaign. Yet nothing worked. Every indictment, every headline, every so-called scandal only boosted his profile. Ironically, they ended up giving Trump more exposure and attention than Kamala Harris, turning him into a political powerhouse they couldn't silence no matter how hard they tried.
I can't believe, like, these are honestly going to be our two choices, because I really try to, with each thing, to try to be, like, figure out who I'm going to put. I mean, it's got to be, I want somebody in their 40s, somebody that's going to have to live with their decisions. I don't want, like, you know, with any luck, they'll both die of natural causes before the election. And maybe you could get somebody that still has something to live for.
Wow.
This should have been an easy call for Burr since he's openly a left-leaning comedian, but it wasn't that straightforward. When pushed, he couldn't just fall neatly in line and pick between Trump and Harris because, deep down, he had his own frustrations with the Democratic political landscape. Sure, he framed his comments to sound like he was only pointing out that both candidates are old, a not-so-subtle swipe at Biden, but the deeper message was clear. What really came through was his weariness with the Biden administration's non-stop push of woke policies. Like many others, Burr wasn't eager to face another 4 years of agendas and ideologies that seemed to go against tradition, common sense, nature, and even basic logic. His joke wasn't just comedy. It was a reflection of a growing cultural fatigue that's getting harder to ignore.
Bill Burr is here. He means no harm.
How long you been wearing suits? You're supposed to unbutton the coat when you sit down.
No,
it's been
that's not
bugging
true.
me the whole time.
All right, I'll unbutton everything. More with Bill Burr after this. We'll be right back.
Jimmy Kimmel was clearly squirming in his seat as Bill Burr dropped truth bombs that cut straight through the Hollywood echo chamber. You could almost see the panic in his eyes. He was tugging at his suit jacket and itching to cut to a commercial break. Kimmel had invited Burr, expecting him to play along with the usual late-night routine of bashing Trump, the safe script Kimmel thrives on. What he didn't expect was for Burr to flip the narrative and fire shots right back at him. Burr's blunt, no-nonsense commentary didn't just step outside the script, it tore it apart. That's why Kimmel looked so rattled. He had brought Burr on as a friend of the cause, but instead got a comedian unafraid to mock the very machine Kimmel profits from. In the process, Burr flipped the spotlight, leaving Kimmel trapped in the very discomfort he had hoped to dodge.
Minister, we saw the dismissal of a very well-known chat show host in America last night, Mr. Kimmel. Is free speech more under attack in Britain or America?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
Eventually, Kimmel got the axe from ABC, and much like Stephen Colbert's situation, the signs were impossible to ignore. His ratings were in a freefall, and television, at the end of the day, is a business. When a show starts hemorrhaging millions year after year, No amount of political loyalty or celebrity clout can keep it afloat. Critics often try to frame Kimmel's collapse as the result of his cheap shots at MAGA supporters or his endless digs at Trump. But the reality is that controversy only carries you so far. If viewers stop tuning in, advertisers pull out, and networks start crunching the numbers. Kimmel stopped being an asset and turned into a liability, and ABC made the only rational move: cut their losses. In the end, it wasn't the Trump jokes that brought him down, it was the ratings. And numbers don't lie.
Years of complaining about cancel culture, the current administration has taken it to a new and dangerous level by routinely threatening regulatory action against media companies unless they muzzle or fire reporters and commentators that it doesn't like. He went on to say this is precisely the kind of government coercion that the First Amendment was designed to prevent, and media companies need to start standing up rather than capitulating to.
Since when did Barack Obama suddenly decide to speak out against cancel culture? This is the same man who stood front and center during its peak, when comedians, celebrities, politicians, and even everyday Americans were being silenced or destroyed for stepping out of line with the far left's agenda. Back then, Obama stayed completely quiet. He didn't call out the mob, didn't warn about the dangers of silencing dissent, and certainly didn't criticize the government, because his party was comfortably in power. That silence spoke louder than words. But now, with the political winds shifting and the shoe on the other foot, suddenly Obama discovers his voice. Now he claims to be concerned about cancel culture, as if it wasn't weaponized under his watch. It's a convenient change of heart, but also a transparent one. He's only against it now because it no longer benefits his side.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel thought he was bigger than Disney, bigger than Mickey Mouse. And ABC affiliates are refusing to air his show. They're on the brink of an advertiser boycott, and this guy's not even in first place. And he says, let's go another round. So the boss said, take a breather, Jimmy. You're costing us a fortune and making us look like we don't have a conscience.
By this point, audiences were worn out from Jimmy Kimmel's recycled hot takes on MAGA. Night after night, he hammered away at Donald Trump and his supporters, turning what once passed for comedy into a stale routine of partisan shots. In the process, he didn't just tell jokes, he managed to alienate half the country. What used to be late-night entertainment devolved into little more than political lecturing, and viewers tuned out in massive numbers. But his latest remarks went far beyond the usual boundaries. This wasn't just another Trump jab or MAGA punchline, it was a moment where Kimmel crossed into territory that couldn't simply be ignored. Even many of his defenders struggled to excuse what he said. The line between sharp-edged comedy and reckless commentary was erased, and this time, there was no way back. Kimmel had finally pushed things too far.
This is not about free speech. This is about the free market. On free speech, Jimmy Kimmel isn't losing his ability to speak out and say whatever the heck he wants. He could run the Substack just like his friends Don Lemon, Jim Acosta, Joy Reid, Chuck Todd, and then say whatever's on his mind there. The difference is he's not going to get paid $15, $16 million a year from Disney and ABC to do it. I mean, here's the thing. This was a last straw moment for Disney, ABC, the affiliates Nexstar, and Sinclair.
I've got to side with Concha on this one. Jimmy Kimmel just wasn't delivering the kind of return ABC expected from such a huge investment. Like many of his late-night peers, he went all in on politics, turning his show into a nightly sermon against Trump and the MAGA crowd. The problem is, once you openly alienate millions of Americans, you cut yourself off from a massive potential audience that's never coming back, no matter how many jokes you crack. What you're left with is the same shrinking pool of viewers that every other politically charged comedian is already scrambling to capture. Instead of expanding the audience, they're all just slicing the same pie thinner and thinner. With too many voices chasing a dwindling base, the ratings crash was inevitable. Kimmel's downfall wasn't random. It was the obvious outcome of burning bridges and narrowing his appeal beyond repair.
All of this screaming about the First Amendment and free speech is driving me crazy. People seem to think that the First Amendment allows every individual to say whatever they want, wherever they want, whenever they want. That's not what the First Amendment does. What the First Amendment does is provides that Congress can make no law to prohibit you from speaking. It does not say that you can't get fired for saying some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It does not say that. And so Jimmy Kimmel, as you've said, has not been silenced. This is not chilling.
This woman completely dismantles Trump's critics and exposes how shallow their arguments really are. Too many people toss around the First Amendment without actually understanding what it protects. The First Amendment is about government restrictions on free speech. It has nothing to do with what private employers expect from their employees. If a network, sponsor, or employer decides someone's words or behavior are damaging to the brand, they're fully within their rights to step in. That isn't censorship. It's business. In Jimmy Kimmel's case, hiding behind the First Amendment is not only weak but irrelevant. He wasn't silenced by the government. He was held accountable by the very industry that once elevated him. The truth is simple. If you can't deliver ratings, revenue, or respect, the network has every right to cut ties. Kimmel should take the lesson and move on. His downfall wasn't the result of one bad joke, one political jab, or even a single scandal. It was years of alienating half the country, leaning too hard into woke politics, and producing fewer laughs with each season. Critics can spin it however they want, but the bottom line is that Kimmel stopped being entertaining and stopped being profitable. Networks don't care about loyalty, they care about numbers. Once the ratings and revenue dried up, so did his safety net. Whether it was Bill Burr calling him out, critics tearing him apart, or audiences tuning out, the message couldn't be clearer. Kimmel's time has passed. Hollywood has already moved on, leaving little chance of a comeback. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.